Hola, buenos dias to you from me 2,000 years ago. It is a Teach to Learn featuring this beauty. It's Eulalia, and I want to talk about Sigmund Freud this morning, okay? So we're going to get into the id, the ego, and the superego. Okay. Sigmund Freud was the father of psychoanalysis and lover of Blocaine. And he saw the mind as like a battlefield between these three forces: the superego, ego, and id. Each of these being the driving factors between your thoughts, your pleasures, and your decision-making ability. The id is our primal instinct, and this is the part of the brain that works strictly off of immediate gratification, impulsiveness, and getting what it wants when it wants, how it fucking wants it. The superego is the disciplinarian, and what could be like if id was a bad kid, superego is a very intense, strict parent. So superego is crucial in the way that it guides us, but it also can be very harsh and make you feel guilt-ridden. And your scale for your superego is influenced throughout your childhood in your authoritarian figures, as well as you get older, what you decide your expectations and standards are. Okay. And then the ego is like the referee between these two. And it operates in the reality principle, whereas, I don't know if I mentioned it, but it operates in the pleasure principle. So an example being of all three in action is going to be if you see like $1,000 freaking Prada bag, okay? And your id is going to say, do whatever it takes to get that. Your superego is going to say, that's completely irresponsible and you don't need a bag. Make it make sense. And then your ego will say, well, why don't you set up in a way that you can get this bag that won't compromise your budget? Never back down. Never give up. Okay, Freud believed that the key to a balanced life is to have a very strong superego, and this makes me like, well, one, grateful to have these type of reviews, but it does make me wonder, have I been nurturing my ego enough? And I'm curious on if, like, which of these three controls you the most? You know, are you run by your impulsiveness? Are you run by your superego? Or do you have a healthy balance and your ego is like a big fucking gangster? And why I really enjoy, well, one, studying psychology, and why this is also important for me to review is because in my sci-fi novel, which is just like a parallel universe to this one, I've made it so that Eulalia is like the highest version of myself, and that is my superego. And then if you're on my TikTok, I had CB as what I thought was ego, but now I realize she's id, which is also Lilith in the book. She's AI. But so I was wrong. You know, I had confused id and ego. And also, I love my superego, but I have been feeling like very overrun by it lately and not giving myself enough grace, and that is like the ego stepping in now. And one of my biggest takeaways from this like knowledge dump is definitely to make Eulalia shut the fuck up a bit, you know. And I had initially done not a recording, but a script on Carl Jung, because him and Freud were like very intertwined, and Carl Jung did term like the anima, the animus, extrovert, introvert, but really like how my brain works is those three concepts. And whenever I studied psychology and I was able to like understand that, Freud just kind of became number one, even though he is like very controversial. This bird. Hello. Because he loves his mommy and he loves Blocaine. Like, he was crazy. But still, his work is profound. And it helps you understand yourself, which is what life is all about. And Carl Jung will agree with that. It did. Another thing I wanted to yap about, because it all just coincides. You can't see that I'm like using this as a little map down here. But I was watching Severance, and if you've seen that, it's about, you know, going and like splitting up your work and your personal life so that you don't remember going to work and you don't remember being outside of work. And I tie this in with like my subconscious. And like last night when I went to sleep, it was like I really contemplated, like, damn, what if it was like I had an innie and that girl's about to fucking do something somewhere else, which is probably true. But we will save metaphysics for another day. Okay, bye.